The temperature outside is rising as even more USC spring sports are starting to heat up.
From baseball to lacrosse, the future's looking so bright we had to put our shades on. Sports Scene starts now.
Welcome to the one, the only, the Annenberg Media Center. I'm Paolo Uggetti.
And I'm Keely Eure. USC Basketball looks to rebound and keep their home winning streak alive after a winless weekend in the desert. The Trojans played Colorado and Utah in what is turning out to be a crucial week in Pac-12 play.
That's right. The Utes and the Buffs are two of the hottest teams in the Pac-12 right now. They have identical records and are both 5-2 in their last 7 games. Both teams are now tied for 3rd place in the Pac-12.
Heading into this week, it seemed like these two matchups would be an easy matchup for the Trojans, but after getting swept on the road, it seems like the dynamic of these games have changed. How important are these games now?
Well, it's super important. I mean, the Pac-12 at the top has gotten really crowded. There's a lot more teams up there than we expected. You know, it's a top-to-bottom conference. There's a lot of good teams, and now that Colorado and Utah are on this hot streak, and USC has struggled as of late, it creates a lot more competitive environment. And now as we head to the end of the season, the final in-conference games, it's going to be tough to see if USC can really surpass those teams after having a rough weekend in the desert.
I guess the heart of the issue is that USC is having trouble on the road. They were swept by both Oregon schools and now both Arizona schools as well. It's a stark contrast to how they play at home.
Yeah, I mean, it's clear that the Trojans are an entirely different team when they go to the road. They're scoring 7 fewer points per game, 3 fewer assists per game, and they're also turning the ball over at a much higher rate away from the Galen Center. It seems that when they go out to these hostile environments and they can't hit shots, they clamp up and they're not able to get these big wins.
Mm-hmm. And because they haven't, they're now 3-4 in their last 7 games. They did have a dominant win against UCLA, but then all of a sudden they have these struggles on the road again. How does this affect the team going forward? How far can they go?
Yeah, I mean, you see the effect right away in the sense that they were ranked in the AP poll at number 23, and as of Monday, the latest poll came out, and they were out. So just from that perspective, you're already seeing them kind of falter and fall behind some other teams. As far as bracketology goes, and we know that's really important come tournament time, that's where they'll be. They're projected as a 7 seed, when at once they were projected a 5 seed. So if they don't have that higher seed, it's probably a tougher matchup and a tougher road, and I'm sure they want to get to as far as possible in the tournament.
Mm-hmm. And that's right. With 6 games left in the regular season, USC has little room for error, but the Trojans still believe they have what it takes to make a postseason run.
We can go as far as we want to because we have the talent to, and we have great coaching. So we just need to stay focused and stay on course.
Their focus will be tested tomorrow night when they face Colorado at the Galen Center.
While spring training is still a week away, college baseball here at USC is set to get underway. Here to help me preview the Trojans' offensive outlook on the season is Rachel Frain. Thanks for joining me, Rachel.
Thanks for having me, Paolo.
Well, you know, this last season, this team surprised a lot of people. Similar to USC Basketball, they were expected to improve, but they really surpassed people's expectations. And, you know, they had big wins over teams like UCLA, TCU, and Vanderbilt. But it looks like this year they're getting a little more love in the polls.
That's right, Paolo. For the first time since 2006, USC is actually ranked in the top 25 preseason. They're at D1, ranked number 12, and that's huge. They're above the 2015 champion Virginia. USC actually played Virginia in the regional final last year, and it was 11 innings. They lost 14-10. But after a 39-21 season in 2015, the Trojans definitely want to be back in the NCAA tournament and finally bring home a win for Coach Hubbs.
Yeah, let's take a look at this projected lineup for this year. You know, defensively, the Trojans had 17 fewer errors than their opponents last year. Where do you see the strengths and the weaknesses as far as this year's lineup goes?
You know, USC is looking to have a really strong pitching core on the obvious leader, Kyle Davis, but he also has a great reliever in Mark Huberman. But off the pitcher's mound, the Trojans have a lot of strong arms, really adaptable players. Definitely Jeremy Martinez, who actually played first base all last year. Of the 60 games that he played, he was at first, but he's really looking to take Garrett Stubbs' place here at catcher. But other key players to look for, besides Martinez and on the pitcher's mound, are Reggie Suthall, Dempster, Paulson, all who had pretty good 2015 years, but definitely are looking to just raise their stats in 2016.
Well, you mentioned Garrett Stubbs. That's one of the key players that USC is losing this season. Guys like Dante Flores and Bobby Stahl are also gone. Who do you kind of see stepping in there and maybe providing that offensive firepower with those guys gone?
Well, offensively, I do think USC has a great lineup set for this year. The obvious guy to talk about is Jeremy Martinez, who's got the best batting percentage of the guys left on the team for 2016. And then you've got Timmy Robinson with 7 homers, the most RBIs, of course, left on the team again. Those two guys are definitely expected to continue batting like they have been, if not better. So it's going to put a lot of pressure on especially A.J. Ramirez. This first game, he had 9 homers, the most home runs of anyone on the team in 2015. But other than Ramirez, eyes are going to be on David Oppenheim and Reggie Suthall, 2 players who are looking to potentially fill the big shoes left behind from Garrett Stubbs and Bobby Stahl.
Well, even with bigger expectations heading into this year's season, it looks like the Trojans have the talent to really fulfill them. All in all, it should be a very exciting season.
Last year, USC Baseball reached the postseason for the first time since 2005. The stage is set for another playoff run as the season begins this week. What better to have USC pitcher Kyle Davis join us in studio. Thanks for joining me today.
Welcome. Thanks for having me on.
So, the season's approaching. It starts this week. What is the mood with the team?
Just excited. We're finally, with all the fall and the spring and all the hours we put in, we're just excited to get going.
Last year, the team had expectations, and you guys exceeded that. What are you guys setting your sights on this season?
Yeah, like you said, last year we had all these expectations. So this year it's kind of like the target's on our back. This year we kind of want to make a conscious effort that every game matters, and host a regional finally is kind of our big goal. So that's what we're looking forward to.
Mm-hmm. And for you, you've been both a reliever and a starter. How does your preparation change now that you know you're going to be a full-time starter?
Well, it's easy. Being a starter is a lot more convenient. You get a lot more days off, more rest, time to do whatever you want. Being a reliever, it's always hectic. You don't really have a schedule. It's boom, boom, boom all the time. So being a starter is kind of easier.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of preparation, let's actually take it to our fan question of the week. This one comes in from Cooper Perkins on Facebook. He says, what have you done to prevent injuries that slowed you down last spring?
A lot of rehab. As everyone knows, I had a leg problem and a groin problem. So I've spent a lot of time in the training room, kind of getting work done with Justin, our old trainer, and now with Paul, our new trainer. Just icing and rehabbing, conditioning better, staying on top of my regimen is the big thing that I have to work on.
Mm-hmm. And there's changes this season. Jeremy Martinez is moving from first to catcher now that Garrett Stubbs is gone. For you as a pitcher, how does that work, that relationship with a new catcher?
Well, it's interesting because I've known Jeremy for a long time, so I've always had a connection with Jeremy since I was young. Mm-hmm. So for me, I'm pretty comfortable throwing to him, and I like throwing to Jeremy. He's kind of a bigger body catcher, and it's a easier kind of zone for me to fit into. And our chemistry we're really good friends, so for us, it works out great.
That's great. And is it hard for other pitchers on the team, or?
Yeah, I mean, especially Garrett, he was an All-American, the best catcher in the country, so it's pretty tough going from someone like that to a completely different catcher, and they're always throwing to Garrett, who's a small person, and Jeremy, who played first base and working on catcher, so it's a little bit of a transition for everyone else. Mm-hmm.
And last June, you actually entered the draft. What was that whole process like for you?
I mean, it was nerve-wracking to begin, and the draft process is a little difficult. It's pretty difficult to go through, but I was excited. I was honored, especially to get drafted, and I made the decision to come back, so I'm happy about it.
Yeah, looking forward this year. What games are you most excited for?
The Dodgertown Classic, obviously. Oklahoma, Mississippi State's important. I'm most excited to go to TCU because we've played them twice since I've been here, and first time was a brawl, almost a brawl. Both teams left the dugout, and the second time, Timmy kind of ran the catcher over, so we kind of have a little bad blood between us, and to go to their environment with 10,000 fans, I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, that is exciting. Yeah. But you mentioned the Dodger Classic. You're a Dodger fan. What is that like being in Dodger Stadium?
It's awesome. It was a dream come true. I was fortunate enough in high school, I got to pitch at Dodger Stadium. But last year, getting to sit in the dugout and watch the game, especially against our rivals in UCLA, it was a blast. Just being at Dodger Stadium for me is a complete honor.
That's awesome. Yeah, and so I did some background research. I figured out you're a Sandlot fan. Can you give us your best Sandlot impression? What's your favorite quote?
All right. Sandlot, obviously. You would look at you?
You sure? Or the camera? You can look at the camera too, or look at that camera.
All right.
Oh, no, that camera.
All right. You're killing me, Smalls.
That's great. That is a great impression. Well, that's all the time we have. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
You can catch Kyle and the rest of the USC baseball team this Thursday at Data when they take on North Dakota State. Now let's switch it over to Bev to give us our weekly social media update.
Whether it's about the weather or the Super Bowl or the Grammys, USC's athletes were vocal on social media this week. Catcher Jeremy Martinez was seen putting in some extra practice despite the weather being a high of 85 degrees. No clouds, no problem. It's all about suns out, guns out. Grammy Award-winning singer Adele captures the hearts of even the strongest of men. USC fullback Soma Vinuku tweeted out, "Adele's performance right now, amazing," during this year's Grammy Awards ceremony. USC outside linebacker Sua Cravens once again lands a spot in sports team social media highlights after losing a Super Bowl bet with Stanford quarterback Kevin Hogan. With the Panthers' loss, Cravens was forced to get a $200 life-size cutout for his room of Hogan throwing a touchdown pass against USC. How's that for college room decor? That's it for social media this week. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Bev. USC Athletic Director Pat Haden returned from the hospital Saturday. Haden underwent a medical procedure, according to the LA Times, after feeling lightheaded and needing medical assistance last week.
Prior to Haden's recent health scare, sports team Cindy Robinson sat down with the athletic director, who's set to retire at the end of June. Cindy, even though he's retiring this year, he's still going to oversee renovations that are occurring in the Coliseum, right?
That's right, Keely. With the Rams moving to LA and sharing the Coliseum as their home stadium for the next 3 years, USC is going to deal with some changes. Days before he announced his resignation, Haden talked with me about how the Trojans will be affected by the Rams' big move.
I think there's going to be some good news and bad news. I think on a positive front, we are in the midst of fundraising for a renovation of the Coliseum, a $270 million renovation of the Coliseum, which has been approved by our Board of Trustees, et cetera. And so for them to come in here, play 2 or 3 years, and pay us rent, it's like another donor, if you will. And they won't really conflict with our schedules themselves. We're going to obviously play on Saturdays and they're going to play on Sundays, so it won't be much of a conflict. So I think that's a positive for us.
While USC will make some money from the Rams using the Coliseum, the university could potentially lose financial support.
Ultimately, when they move to their permanent site, I think we could have some effect in our corporate sponsorships. I mean, the NFL is the 800-pound gorilla. We understand that. And some of our corporate sponsors may prefer to support the NFL rather than USC. Well, that remains to be seen, but that would be somewhat of a concern.
One thing Haden says shouldn't be greatly affected are ticket sales.
There's really two fan bases, if you will, and our fan base has been really, really loyal. I mean, I've had one season ticket holder that's been a season ticket holder since 1929. So, many of our season ticket holders have some affiliation or connection to USC. Either they went here, their parents went here, their granddad went here, or their grandparents are taking grandkids. I mean, it's a very generational thing for collegiate sports, and particularly USC. You can see 3-4 generations of a family coming to a USC game. I don't think the NFL has that as much. It's a little bit different audience. So I don't think it's going to impact our ticket sales per se.
Another challenge USC may face is updating the Coliseum to NFL standards. Since the 2016 season is right upon us, there isn't a lot of time to make improvements to the stadium for the Rams. Haden says there will be a few changes made before the season starts, such as locker room and lighting renovations, but other smaller facility issues will be addressed after this season, and the major renovation will begin after the 2017 season.
USC women's lacrosse kicked off their season this weekend with a statement 21-2 victory over Stetson. A whopping 11 different players scored, and star Michaela Michael led the team with 6 of her own.
That's a lot of goals, 15 of which came in the first half.
Wow, it's crazy.
I know. This team is definitely one that you want to keep an eye on.
Or both.
Or 4 in your case.
Hey.
Sports Team's Max Goldwasser has everything you need to know about the women of Troy.
USC women's lacrosse has only been around since 2013. That year, head coach Lindsay Monday led the team to an 8-10 record. Last year, they made it to the second round of the NCAA tournament, and this year, the women of Troy come into the 4th season, slotted at number 19 in the nation. Let's take a look at why USC has been growing more successful every year and why this year could be their best one yet. Now, a big reason this team has been quickly gaining recognition is because of the upperclassmen that have helped build this team from the ground up. This year, USC's 32-person roster is made up of 24 upperclassmen. That's 3/4 of the entire team that's either a junior or a senior. So you can see there's a lot of leadership on this team, and those seniors can help mentor the next wave of players in the program. And what's interesting to note is where those seniors are from. 12 of the 15 hail from somewhere on the East Coast. Now, lacrosse is traditionally an East Coast sport, so it's not surprising that only 3 seniors on the team were recruited from the West Coast. However, location doesn't tell the whole story. As USC's leading point scorer last season, Michaela Michael is from California. The 5'11" junior sets a team record with 76 points in 20 games last season, leading her to MPSF Player of the Year honors. And this year, she has her eyes set on breaking that record once again.
I think it's all about my teammates. They know what I'm good at, and they know what situations I want to get the ball in and stuff. So they're really good at kind of helping me set up the situations and taking 1v1s and giving me assists. So I think that that's really the reason why I'm getting points.
She started off with a double hat trick in the team's first game on Saturday, taking down Stetson 21-2. There's also a unique sense of motivation for the women of Troy this year, and that's because the team recognizes that this is the last season for the seniors, who are the reason the women's lacrosse even exists here at USC. So everyone wants them to go out on top, including Coach Monday herself.
These girls bought into something that didn't exist, and that, we didn't have a program to say, here we've won before or we've done anything before. They bought into sort of a vision, and so that's really all you can ask for as a coach.
The team gets a week-long break before they play perhaps their toughest match of the year against 7th-ranked Duke. Now let's see if the women of Troy can use their leadership and newfound motivation to their advantage and get the seniors one of the biggest wins of their careers at USC. Game is next Saturday in Costa Mesa, so watch out for that. And now, let's go to Alexa for a look into the life of another USC athlete.
Hey guys, I'm Alexa Palermo, and this is Sports Scene's Ask an Athlete. Now, you may be wondering, what is this? Well, I'm here to tell you. In 60 seconds, I will be asking your favorite athletes anything that you want to know that is completely unrelated to sports. Let's check it out.
This week, I caught up with Kristen Simon, a sophomore forward for the USC women's basketball team. Let's see what she had to say.
Favorite color?
Red.
Favorite quote?
I chose The Road Less Traveled by Robert Frost.
Favorite song?
Something Kendrick or J. Cole. I don't know, something.
Favorite food?
Tacos. From the taco truck, though.
Biggest pet peeve?
Disrespect.
Zodiac sign?
Sagittarius, I think.
Nice. Favorite animal?
A zebra. I don't know.
Biggest fear?
To not accomplish my goals.
Favorite movie?
Titanic or The Notebook.
Nice. Something we might not know about you.
I've written a book.
Cool. Happiest moment?
Happiest moment was signing my NLI in high school, probably going to college. No, I'm going to college.
Me too. Favorite TV show?
Prison Break.
That's all I have. Check back next week to see more of your favorite athletes.
The USC campus was even more packed than normal this weekend. The Olympic Marathon trials were this Sunday.
The 26.2-mile course started at Staples Center. Runners then made their way down Figueroa and through the USC campus. They then passed by the Coliseum to complete the route that the runners looped 4 times. Galen Rupp was the winner on the men's side, while Amy Craig took the top spot for the women. 26.2 miles, that's a lot of running. What's the farthest you've ever run?
I'm not really a distance runner, but I'm speedy. My PR for my bed to my kitchen, very fast. Puts
nice.
Usain Bolt to shame.
I bet.
It does. Well, that's all we have here for you here on Sports Scene.
Make sure to tune in next week as we preview basketball's latest road trip and baseball series against Wake Forest.
Be sure to follow us on Twitter at SportsSceneUSC and like us on Facebook. We'll see you then.